The Year Halloween Ruined Thanksgiving by B.J. Hyman. Hepzibah was a witch. Yes, that is true. And she thought that her villagers in Mulberry Bay not only accepted her, but were her friends. Until the Halloween that no one came to celebrate her special holiday at her home. Alone and feeling abandoned, she decided to take her revenge out on the next holiday that the people loved, Thanksgiving. Look out, Mulberry Bay. Witch Hepzibah and her pet cat Zombie are gonna knock your socks off. Chapter 1. Alone on Halloween. Witch Hepzibah was mad. No, scratch that. She was furious. She paced her small kitchen with growing agitation. Looking over at her abnormally large dining room made it even worse. She had put an enlargement charm on it last night while preparing for her party tonight. Even now, she could see the edges and corners of the room starting to pucker and sag as the charm slowly lost its power. It reminded her of balloons, long filled but at the end of their air. The enormous tables, filled to the brim with untouched food, mocked her. She would need to clean up before the room snapped back to its normal size, or she'd have a huge mess of broken dishes and sloshed food to clean up. Witch Hepzibah's cat familiar Zombie kept swishing and swirling about her ankles. He was hard to miss, seeing as he currently was an acid green color. Since Zombie was a magical cat, he could change colors at will. He loved to surprise with a brilliant color on Halloween, and this year he had chosen a wild and shocking color of green. As Hepzibah gathered dishes of food from the tables, Zombie cast about looking for stray morsels to eat. He gave an ear to her mutterings just in case she was feeling so vexed that she was about to call him to action. But her words contained no traditional magic. Ungrateful wretches! See if I'm willing to brew any more love potions, or cure any boils, for any of them ever again. And rain spells? Bah! Let the ground dry and crack for all I care. His ears pricked for a moment at this, for it had the beginnings of a spell. Alas, it was just words. He sat and began to clean his paws, since he'd been unable to find any droppings of food. Hepzibah, even in her ire, was moving the dishes carefully and wasn't spilling any bits for him to eat. She gestured wildly about the dining room as she raved. "Look at all this uneaten food, and most of it doesn't freeze well." Hepzibah had created a feast fit for a dozen covens. She had decided that this year, instead of the usual trick-or-treat fare, that she would feed adults too. Halloween was her night to shine. Where she usually had dishes of candy for the children, some magical and some not, she had thought that she'd throw her first party for everyone. Instead of glowing gobstoppers, she'd made Eye of Newt Jello salad. Instead of giggling gum, she'd made sugar spider cake with real spun web icing. Instead of hair-raising hard candy, she'd made poison berry pie with an antidote glaze. Sure, she'd create some of her candies for the random trick-or-treaters, but she'd planned for more than that. She had a whole menu of wonderful witch fare to share with her neighbors, the townspeople of Mulberry Bay. She had sent it out along with her invitations. But not one person showed up for her dinner. Not even one trick-or-treater appeared. She was completely ignored on the one night of the year that she was supposed to be center stage. She grumbled and mumbled as she finished cleaning. And just in time. The clock struck midnight, and a rumble began in the house. Zombie looked around anxiously before darting into the kitchen. Hepzibah leaned against her counter and watched with a sour look pasted on her face as her unnaturally enlarged dining room twisted and shriveled and snaked and swiveled and distorted and sniveled right back to its original dimensions with a loud final pop. So that was that. No one cared for her. That's what tonight taught her. No one cared. She curved slightly to the floor as if she were deflating like her dining room had just done. After a moment, she swiftly stood straighter, wiped a tear from her eye, and stomped off to bed. "We'll see about that. They'll care when I'm through with them," she shouted as she crossed into her bedroom. Zombie barely got his tail through the door before she slammed it shut.